Hi guys, welcome back to the final video on hotspots. In the first two we figured out how we would draw hotspots onto some complex shapes. The next video we figured out how we would test if we were clicking inside those hotspots. And the third thing we're going to do in this video is that we're going to do something when we click inside the hotspots. Okay? So at the moment, we already do something when we click inside the hotspot. We print out that we print out in the console that we're in that blob. Okay, so we're happy with that. Yeah. What I would like to do is, for example, I would like this blob when you click it to change color. Okay, and because this is an image, because I think a lot of you are going to use images, we have two images. We have a blob that's purple and a blob that's green. And we are going to switch the image based on whether you click on it. Okay. So if you click in blob 1, I want to change it to green, and if you click again, I want to change it back to purple. Okay. So let's go and try and do that. We're going to do that with all four of them, but I'm just going to show you on blob 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to save a variable that changes. That saves if blob 1 is selected. So if blob 1 is selected, blob 1 is not selected at the start. Okay, so at the start it's false. Yeah, and we will change that to true when it is selected. So let's change that to true first. So let's go down to our mass pressed function. This is where we have decided. This is where we're in blob. The mouse is clicked inside blob 1. So what's going to happen here is when that happens, we're going to change the blob 1 selected variable to, we want to change it to true because it's selected, but then we won't be able to, if you click on it again, it's still going to set it as true. We want it to be able to toggle between true and false. So the way that you do that is you're going to say blob 1 selected is going to equal whatever blob 1 selected currently isn't. So this exclamation mark here is I'm not sure what the technical name for it is, but it essentially reverses. So if blob 1 selected is true and you put that in front of it, it's going to return false here. Okay, so if blob 1 is true, it's like saying, this is a shorthand way of saying if blob 1 selected equals true, and set blob 1 selected to false. Otherwise, we can assume that blob 1 selected is false. We select it, set it to true. I'm going to do it in the full verbose way of doing it so that you understand. Okay, so this is what we're trying to write. It's 5 lines of code. Okay, we're going to write if blob 1 is selected is true, then set it to false. But if blob 1 selected is currently false, set it to true. Okay, now that will work. Yeah, but what we want to do is we want to shorthand this. So we can say there's a few ways we can do it. The first thing we can do is say that we don't need an if-else statement here, because if blob 1 being true is not true, yeah, if blob 1 selected does not equal true, then we're going to get to here anyway, and we don't need to test if it's false because we know can only be two things. It can either be true or false. So if it's not true, then it is false. So we can already delete that, and we can say if it's true, select it, set it to false. Otherwise, set it to true. Yeah, but we can also do this, yeah, which is we can say that if blob 1 is selected, we can just reset blob 1 selected. This is getting so convoluted to explain. We can just reset, we can set blob 1 selected to be whatever it isn't. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. So it's the same thing. So we can delete all that. then we can get to that. Yeah. So that is just basically toggling blob1 selected. Every time this gets clicked, it's going to toggle between true and false. Okay. So let's see if that works. Let's, instead of printing in blob1 as well as printing in blob1, let's print what we're going to get with blob1 selected. Okay. So if we click in, blob1 selected is not defined. Why? I've spelled it wrong, that's why. Okay, there we go. Alright, if we click in here, we see that we're in blob1, and blob1 selected is true. And if we click again, it's false. If we click again, it's true. If we click again, it's false. So it's toggling that. Yeah? So that's great. We've been able to toggle whether it's selected. Okay. Now we want to draw an image based on that. Every time the draw function runs, we want to draw an image based on that blob1 selected value. Yeah. So here we're going to remove how we draw the image normally. Get rid of that. And we're going to say if blob1 is selected, then show the green image. If blob1 isn't selected, then show the purple. So at the moment it's purple because our blob1 is not selected. As soon as you click, it's green. Yeah. See that? Switch to true and we're showing the green. Purple, green, purple, green. Ah, we got there. Okay. And now you do the same for every single other blob. Okay. So let's do it for these blobs. And let's show those green images if it's selected and show the purple if it's not. Get rid of how we drew our images to start with here. Oh, blob 4 is a little bit different, so let's just remove that. We don't need blob 4, because on blob 4, I just want to skip to the next page. Okay, so we don't need blob 4 being selected. Okay, we just want these first three. So, if I click that, it's green, great. If I click that, it goes green. If I click that, it goes green, great. If I click that, nothing happens. Blob 4, nothing happens. Okay, so we're happy, look. That's great, okay. On blob 4, I'd like to progress to the next page. So to progress to the next page, I've got my increment screen function from the tap essay. So that's what moves us to the next page. So all we do is, if we click inside blob 4, we already know we've already written that. We print is in blob 4 and we increment the screen. So if I click on that, goes green, that green, that green, and then here, hey, we're on page 3. And that is the end. Okay, so I think you guys will probably use some elements of that. You might not use all the elements of that. You might simplify it. You might make it more complex. The one thing that I will do here is that I will remove the stroke on the hotspots, so we can see this exercise in all its glory without those lines. Yeah. Hey. Okay. Let's leave it there. There's probably a lot of questions. Ask them in the tech support channel, and we will deal with everything else just on a case-by-case basis for you. Okay. Bye.